There we go. All right. Finally. Welcome, everyone. Sorry about the delay. Once again, I was having some technical difficulties. I don't know what's been going on these last few weeks, but whatever it is, has not been terribly cooperative when it comes to actually launching games properly. Anyway, we are finally all set, and we are good to continue. So welcome back. Welcome back to Dragon Age 2. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the streams. Welcome back. And cheers. I've got my nice, delightful, massive bucket of coffee just right for starting a stream. So, let's jump back into it. How is everybody tonight? Everyone's doing well. So let me see. Last time we just finished this quest. Hey, Private Investigator. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking.
I've been waiting all day.
I just came out. Anyway, speaking of, I did just come out from meeting with the Viscount, I guess is the name of the title of the ruler. Leader, as it were. Ruler more so. Which I will note, weird little thing, bugs me a little, the title Viscount. Kirkwall, among the rest of the city-states of the Free Marches, is a sovereign city-state. Right? It is not, it's not part of any other, major political union. It is, let's do that. This was the dwarf that we were trying to figure out the secret of Kunari blasting powder for. So anyway, all of the cities in the Free Marches, Kirkwall included, are independent city-states. They are not part of any larger political union, and in particular are not part of a greater political sovereignty.
You know I'm a guard. Why are you asking?
I mean in your off-duty hours, for fun. You've heard of it, I hope.
These are my off-duty hours.
And the trend of you scaring the piss out of me continues.
Love it.
No work for you here.
Actually, hold on. Oh, there's a new quest down there. Or we can go meet with the Kunari. So let's go down here. Check this out. Lord Harrowmont. Oh.
Taking my job.
Relevant to the last game. Anyway, Viscount is typically a subordinate title. It's a title for somebody who is a sort of steward, who is in charge of something.
I've had my oppression for the day, thanks.
In charge of something as a substitute for, or has authority vested in them from a greater ruler who rules above them. And so, typically a count in that case, if I'm not mistaken. It's a Viscount here is a weird. Oh, hello. Yeah, Viscount is a very strange title for the leader of an independent city-state like that.
Waste of life, but not my choice.
There we go.
Lord Harrowmont, what do we do with the human?
Stand down. He's not our foe.
What was that about?
Assassins. The boat to Ravane is within sight, but the Carter would see me dead before I get there. How would you like to make some coin?
So Kylie says, I also discovered recently I can no longer have regular coffee because the caffeine makes me jitteringly sad. It could be a dietary thing. I've heard of that being as a result of changes in diet, even if not changes, just depending on different diet kind of thing. I know coffee jitters happen to me in particular when I cut out carbs, unfortunately, which is another reason I realistically could not do keto. Genetically, I'm not disposed for it. I'm Italian. But in any case, yeah, it may be a dietary thing. So, guess think about that. I don't know what exactly. I'm nowhere near an expert, but it could be something to look into. It could be something worth considering. Now, if we recall, this is a Lord Harrowmont. And if we recall from the last game, from Dragon Age Origins, Lord Harrowmont was the contender for the throne of Orzammar of the Dwarven Kingdom, who we sort of selected against, and so he and his entire family were basically sent into exile or executed by Lord or King at this point, Balin, who we helped to install on the throne. And so this is sort of our this is part of the aftermath, the repercussions of that, which is part of what I love about the Dragon Age series, that despite it being 3 very separate stories with even 3 separate protagonists, we have a lot of through lines, narratively speaking. We've already seen a ton, if you recall, especially from last week, of references to Alistair being king of Ferelden. We already have a bunch of that. I like this. Private Investigator says, just a random question. What is the longest you've stayed up? Probably around 72 hours. It happens once in a while during exam weeks. During or the week after exam weeks nowadays. I will often go, even still, I just turned 30 last week, I'll still go a night without sleeping every once in a while if I need to for getting work done, or even now just the kids staying up. Like, Michael didn't want to go to sleep last night until 4, so I went to sleep a little after 4. It happens. I've never, oh my gosh, Private Investigator says, for me it's been a week and a half. I've never come even close to that. Like I said, about 72 hours is probably the most I've done. And that was early in grad school when I had to finish a bunch of assignments of my own and then do a bunch of grading of my students' assignments. So that was quite a bit of lack of sleep. What I'll often do, though, is cut radically back on sleep. When I was doing my my master's comps, my comprehensive exams, so writing 3 very, very massive essays over the course of 5 days, each one about 10 pages long, all just sprung upon me as part of the exam, and having to do full research for it. That during that whole week, I slept maybe 2 to 4 hours a night, because I was pretty much working through most of it. It worked out fine. I can get by on it, but yeah, a little sleep is very beneficial. I tend to more so in undergraduate. I kind of had this thing where I either had to eat or sleep. I was a lot less hungry. Still am a lot less hungry if I get a good night's sleep. But if I go without sleeping, I'm eating the entire time. It's not good for me, I'm sure, but Private Investigator managed with a lot of coffee. Yeah, I could see that. Coffee doesn't have much of an effect on me. Only on a very empty stomach, especially empty of carbs. Kylie says, I think with keto, it makes it a lot more so. Either that, or since I haven't been on keto lately, and it could be that I also sometimes get migraines with it. Stayed up until 4 a.m. before. Yeah, like 4 a.m. when I went to sleep last night. It happens. It happens. But yeah, like I said, change in diet might be doing it. If you've gone off of keto pretty significantly recently, that might be having an effect on how caffeine messes with your system. Guy says, oh wow, my boyfriend has stayed awake for 3 days before. Yeah, that's about my limit. That's about as far as I've gone. She says, and he hates coffee. That's why I have no idea how he did that, but yeah. I love coffee, but I like I said, I love coffee mostly for the taste. I just enjoy coffee. The caffeine, I'm well and truly addicted at this point, so it doesn't actually help me keep awake very much. It's because coffee is delicious and it keeps the headaches at bay, really. That's about it. Alright, so let's look into this. Let's see what Harrowmont wants.
I've never seen a dwarven lord.
You still haven't. If you're looking at him in daylight, he's not a lord anymore.
I'm Renville Harrowmont, the last of my house. My family was once revered in Orzammar. Now I'm nothing but a surfacer on the run.
You must have greatly angered the Carter for them to attack you with so many witnesses around.
My family was murdered one by King Balin, after my uncle failed to claim the throne. Balin's reach is long, and his vengeance a terrible thing to behold.
All right, well, let's do it.
I'll clear the way for you, Haramont.
Dispatch these ruffians and I'll pay you what I can now. And by the ancestors, I will reward you proper when I am safe. What is your name?
Hawke.
A good name. I will remember it.
The Carta has several groups lying in wait for us. Take the battle to them.
All right, Kylie says, one time I let him try my black tea with a shot of espresso, and I forgot I had the espresso. He literally gagged. Man, that is a real distaste for coffee, I suppose. So, yeah.
Haramont spoke to you, didn't
Let's
he?
see.
Whatever reward he offered, we'll offer you more to kill him.
I never have tried black tea with espresso. How is that? That sounds like it could be very good. Sounds like the kind of thing that Erica would also gravely dislike. She hates coffee. Loves the smell, not the taste.
How about I take care of you instead?
Stupid bastard!
And let's do this.
The alien is overcrowded. Someone should do something. Here!
Berelden, ain't you? Let me get back to work.
All right. Got him for him. Private Investigator says, that's the thing with my job. People see it as you're always sneaking around undercover. It's actually lots and lots of paperwork. I can only imagine.
Go scratch somewhere else.
Look at all the elves.
Where am I supposed to go? Howdy there, Templar. Oh, do I just go back now? Is that it? Where are the rest of these Carta dwarves?
I'll tell you that for
There they are.
Make her take you!
I'll also say a lot of people criticize the over-the-top combat animations in Dragon Age 2, especially compared to 1. But I like it. I really dig it. It's everything about this game is so wildly cartoony. I think it honestly in a very, very good way.
I'd rather go to the Merchant's Guild.
There's more of them? What is this? I'm somehow almost out of mana.
I can't keep this up!
Bad side. Seems to be
Alright.
healthy.
Well, Kylie says he will have a Frappuccino, but very rarely. That barely counts, honestly, taste-wise and flavor-wise. The black tea with espresso shot is pretty good. Adds a little strength and was my go-to for mornings when I couldn't grab breakfast. Yeah, that sounds like a good morning kind of thing. I could dig that. Sounds really good. Private Investigator says, I guess it really depends on what the case is. If it's a possible fraud case, there's quite a bit of paperwork. But if it's a possible cheating case, then all you need is photographic evidence. Yeah, and I mean, wouldn't the difference there just be like whether you are?
Feel free to look at my merchandise.
I would think that a big part of the difference there would be, preponderance of evidence versus proper legal system type of burden of proof, right? Because I mean, if it's if most cheating cases, I would think would be the kind of thing that would be settled outside of court. That wouldn't really go to court, except maybe family court, right? Something like that. And so, it wouldn't be, you wouldn't need to go all the way in terms of needing the level of proof that you would need for a legal case. At least that's what I would think. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong there. Like I said, no way a legal expert. It's far, far, far from my expertise. In fact, I could almost say that my expertise is almost in the opposite direction, not in a sort of criminal direction, but in the direction of my academic interests are intentionally treat the law as irrelevant, especially with respect to ethics, right? So ethical considerations are very independent from the law, and so trying to consider legal theory into it, and legal theory into account gets overcomplicates things at best. And I recognize the perhaps irony of me saying that after last week, or sorry, this is Monday, I guess, talking about the degrees of fault in legal case in tort law for a solid 40 minutes. So maybe the law, at least I will say the law maybe provides good, carefully worded example cases for philosophical analysis. Which is really what I'm talking about in terms of blame and fault, and that kind of thing that we were talking about on Monday.
I wager you've a bright future ahead of you. Take this. More will come, as promised. May the stone look after you.
All right. Fantastic. All right, let's go see the Qunari. It's awful. Awful people, as I keep saying. Our investigator says, yeah, I don't really deal with the fraud cases. I usually am assigned to cheating cases and finding missing persons, such as biological fathers or long-lost mothers, that sort of thing. Cool.
Let me pass.
Yeah, most of that,
Business
like I would
with
think,
the dwarf Javaris and your
probably doesn't involve a lot of
The short mouth, yes.
legal
And
standards of
you
proof,
must,
right?
Basra.
Wine glass is sweating. Florida. All right. So let's see what's going on here. They really did a huge improvement on the look of the Qunari from Dragon Age 1.
Ah, my right hand arrives. Summon your era shock. The bargain is done. About time you showed. I've been here for hours. Illustrious Arashok, I am here to report that your hated Talvashoth were felled, one and all. Right? Yes, they were. So, I'm ready to open negotiations for the explosive powder, as we agreed.
No.
He's not getting it. Say something.
Yeah, so first of all, this is The entrance is spectacular. Sitting on the gigantic throne, like it's a miniature child bench with his knees up, is just fantastically intimidating. Say what you will about the disorganization of the antagonists in Dragon Age 2, because again, the Arashok here is one of the primary antagonists of the game, and yet he plays only a relatively small role in the actual story of the thing. But man, is he appropriately intimidating. Pretty interesting character, as we gradually will learn as well. Private Investigator, thank you for the subscription. Really appreciate that. Awesome. Hopefully, this is the sort of thing that you will get some enjoyment from, and like I'm not sure how much you know of the channel, but if you've looked around, a lot of my my non-live stream videos are pretty straightforwardly just my educational content, the kind of stuff that I either use for class or recorded from class. So if there's ever a topic in philosophy that you have particular interest in, check it out. Bring it up on stream. I'm happy to talk about it. That's part of why I do this sort of thing, is a kind of open Q&A for any of my videos and that sort of any of the topics that I discuss. Most of which are kind of centered around scholastic philosophy and philosophy of religion, metaphysics, and some ethics. But I kind of do spread out beyond that, just because I teach a little wider array of topics. I want to say this, but that will almost definitely be construed as an insult. And it's not a good way of starting things with big, scary Arashok. Let's go speak for yourself. Yeah, that's probably good, right?
You arranged this. You deal with it.
Well, you see, it is customary that effort deserves reward. I think I've shown how common need could benefit us both.
You asked for the Gatlock and were refused, so you invented a task and then paid to have it done. You failed your own goal. You have proved your wealth not worth, and Kunari still owe you nothing.
Nevertheless, you have benefited from his action.
Do you think we are unable to hunt our own outcasts? This was interference, nothing more.
So I get nothing for all this work?
If anything, we have been denied the righteous application of the wisdom of the Qun. What payment should I exact for that? Go, dwarf, before I begin my tally.
I did his dirty work. That debt stands.
Does it, dwarf?
You said yourself there was no bargain. I'm not getting a sodding thing out of this.
This human did what you could not, something I did not expect of any outsider, and you have involved me. If you made a bargain for the Tal-Vashoth, that debt for their lives will be honored.
Sod it all, take your coin, take whatever. Hornhead oxmen and mongrel donglords, suck your own powder and blow your head off, sod it.
You will leave as well, human. There's no more coin for you here.
That was a spectacular series of insults there. I love it. All right, so Private Investigator says philosophy is an interesting subject. Yeah, absolutely. I love it. It's I do it professionally, obviously, so I certainly have a good deal of interest. I'm very glad for my choice of career in terms of sort of professionally doing philosophy. No, Galvanic Burst might be good. Blast people away from you. Or, now let's not spread ourselves out too thin. Maybe good, but not yet. Firestorm might be good. Bigger area might be great. That helps my basic attacks. I'm really, really torn about this. I hate dumb decisions here. Let's go Pyromancer. That helps our basic attacks. Passives are always good. Alright, well, let's get out of here before we are driven out of here. Let's go right along. Alright. Dark Epiphany. I forget what that was. I'll remember momentarily, I'm sure. And then, as the thumbnail promises, we are going to be helping Anders relatively shortly after we finish these last couple of side quests around here.
You remind me of Harin Pyvelvarik, only younger and shorter, and not as serious.
So, it's a close resemblance, then.
Well, he tells stories, and you tell stories, although none of his begin, "No shit, there I was."
I'll have to give him some better stories, then.
Oh my gosh. Wait, what? Who is attacking me in the middle of the day?
What a waste! You're gonna regret this! Gotcha! Now you fall! I think that's the luck.
Our investigator says, one thing I dislike about my job is the very little sleep. Very little time off, and sometimes we have to work during holidays. Yeah, yeah, I would think, and that is, I will say, that's one of the,
There's the dead drop. Hopefully the wardens will appreciate
Oh, this was for the Grey Wardens. That's right, okay. But that is one of the things that I really, really appreciate about teaching, is especially teaching at the university level, is the flexibility. I mean, I can't quite say that I can sort of shape my schedule and all that completely. But to a great degree, I more or less can decide when I teach, and even to a fairly significant extent, what I teach as well. Demonic gloves. No, Spiral Eye is better. Apostate Cuffs? No. Spiral Eye is better. Okay. That has been only exacerbated significantly during the the recent stuff. But I'll say that this is an active sustain mode. Let's go. Shields. Yeah, that'll work. Anyway, but yeah, it's I greatly appreciate the ability to sort of do what I teach things my own way, and that's in large part that has been a luxury afforded to me by very trusting and accommodating department chairs, both the schools I've taught at. And I really can't overstate how much I appreciate that so far. So that's a fantastic, wonderful thing. Private Investigator says, what was the most awkward moment when you were teaching? That is a great question. Huh. Nothing sticks out incredibly brightly in my memory, right? Whisket says, let the making fun commence. Kylie, maybe you can think of something. You were in my class for a good semester, so I'm sure there were some absurdity. Oh, this was a good one. This was when you were in my class, Kylie, and you might remember this, the incident with the Nerf gun. So if you recall, as part of teaching Aquinas' 5 Ways and talking about teleology, which I'll put a link in the description after the stream to a recording of one of my lectures on Aquinas, where this type of thing, I did this type of thing, but not quite to the same degree. But I was what I'll do is in order to illustrate Aquinas' 5th way, talking about teleology or intentionality or directionality of things, I had a Nerf blaster, a dart pistol kind of thing. And what I'll do is I'll have a student aim it at me and shoot at me, like to illustrate sort of what'll happen. How do you know what will happen when you pull the trigger when it's aimed at me? That sort of thing. And so somebody who I'd selected, I forget who it was, it might have been Kylie. Somebody was really nervous about like accidentally hurting me, or like they didn't want to point it at me, which is a good instinct. To be, perfectly fair, that is a good instinct to have. But in any case, they didn't want to point the thing at me. Okay, I understand that you are to thank for the return of lost Grey Warden letters. The deed did not go unnoticed. Please accept the enclosed reward and the Warden's blessing. Your discretion about this affair is appreciated. Thank you. Nice. Somebody just leveled. I don't know who. In any case, right. So Kylie says, "Wait, what? I'm also on." Voice chat with the boyfriend, so somewhat distracted on what I was summoned for. Talking about that, the time with the Nerf gun, when we were doing the Aquinas lecture. These three, always these three, really. Kind of my go-to. Red Blossom Special, let's check that out. That's supplies for a poison, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Kylie says, oh, I remember this, it was fun. Yeah, that was me. Okay, yeah, I thought so. And you were kind of nervous about not wanting to, shoot me and it hurting me. So what I did naturally, as one does, I took the Nerf gun and I just went. All right, so I was handling it, and then I just pointed at my head and pulled the trigger, and several people in the class gasp in like shock and horror, instinctively, because it was completely harmless, and the demonstration that it was harmless was successful, but I had still just sort of made the motion and made the sudden loud bang noise of shooting myself in the head, which, by the way, probably not something to do under normal circumstances with a Nerf gun. They're designed to be relatively safe, but, relatively safe. It ricochets in your eye, it hits you in the temple, it can hurt a little bit, whatever. So maybe don't necessarily do that. But it's relatively safe, and the whole point of it was to show that it was relatively safe. However, it turned out to be a bit of an unsettling ordeal for a great number of students, and I had to kind of back away from this. And anyway, it was a good deal. It was a good deal of fun and a good deal of silliness, of a kind of darker sort. Alright. Ellie says, but I definitely loved getting to play with the Nerf gun, shooting it, and then I shot it at almost right at your heart. He did that with Nerf. Almost gave me a heart attack. Yeah, that was understandably a little bit unsettling for some people. So duty. We have a lot of stuff in Lowdown. Oh my gosh! All right, let's go to the docks. Let's finish duty. I think this is the last one of these. But that was one.
What makes the gang so angry at night? Someone should do something.
So that was certainly awkward. It was a lot of fun. Private Investigator says, kind of wish I was there. Like I said, I did record not that class in particular, but another semester's lecture of the same topic with the same sort of with the same gag, if you will. I still did the same Nerf gun trick. I just didn't wind up shooting myself in the head with it that time.
Especially thugs who target the streets just because it's dark.
There was also there have been several times when I've had to say particularly awkward things in class, which just one would not ordinarily say, except as a kind of demonstration of a point or a principle. But those points and principles kind of need to be said. It's just saying it becomes incredibly awkward. One being,
I don't think I can do that.
what was it? It was in one of my discussions of.
You want me to do what?
Darn it!
I don't
Really,
think
he doesn't.
so.
Can't pick locks. Fine. One being in one of my discussions of ethics, and I believe natural law theory. I forget which of my natural law lectures it was, but in one of them, this was in ethics. Write this down too. In one of my natural law lectures, and this one is recorded, so this is on YouTube, I was talking about, so part of ethical consideration is getting the facts of the matter right, as it were. Right? So you have getting the ethical principles right, and then you have getting the facts of the matter right, so you can calculate what the right thing to do is, or figure out what the right thing to do is, in some way or another. Because you have to have your principles in line, and then you have to have the specifics of the situation. So you need both the to put it in Humean terms that I object to, but let's set that aside. You have the factual and the value. And you need both. So with an errant belief, with the wrong kind of a belief, if you get something wrong, just factually wrong, then things can go awry, right, in your ethical judgment. So part of what I was trying to demonstrate with this discussion was that those two things are much closer than we ordinarily think. So you can be factually wrong about your ethical judgments. So I wound up saying, so for example, as an example of a bad idea, an idea that was wrong and not just factually incorrect, but also can have negative ethical consequences, I used the example in class of something I probably can't say on YouTube without bad things happening to me. But let's say that, and I said the words, but I won't say now, but I said something along the lines of, a certain Austrian painter from the 1940s did nothing wrong. And I got a series of gasps from students, and I had to sort of say, whoa, hold on, guys. This statement, which I had written on the board and then very quickly erased because I realized, what if somebody walks into the room? Didn't know the context. So I had to sort of explain to everyone, well, hold on, guys. I am saying that someone could say such a terrible thing, and they would be very, very wrong. And here's why. And we all know why, so we don't really need to go into it too deeply. But right, so that became quite the ordeal of trying to navigate that. And then in the same class, not the same day, the same semester at least. It was actually very, very awkward trying to discuss matters of natural law with respect to sexuality with a group of mostly like college freshmen and sophomores. That was a good time. So that's always fun. All right, so hold on. I gotta go back over some chat here. Ali says, I like Nerf guns, but definitely wary around actual ones because I'm accident prone. I would not trust myself. If you're particularly accident prone and if you're not comfortable around firearms, there's two solutions. One is to keep yourself away from firearms, and the other is to work on it in a very safe environment.
Never a shortage of idiots who think they can take the streets in the dark.
And it's the kind of thing where you can certainly work on that. But it's if you are not confident with firearms, and if you're not confident with your training in firearms and that sort of thing.
I need someone of flexible talents and secrecy.
Let's come back to that because that one's complicated and that's a long quest. We'll come back to do that later. You know what? No, all of these are complicated quests that we will come back to later. We'll come back to all of this later, and let's just do the thing with Anders now. Let's do that first. How about that? Anyway, Wizkid says, guns are perfectly safe as long as you treat them with the respect they demand and deserve. Yeah, right, that's the key, that's the rub. That's where it can get relatively difficult. Kylie says, I know they're safe in the right hands, however, I'm not the right hands because I'm clumsy as hell. Again, it's the kind of thing where, like I said, you can kind of train that pretty well. Hi, Kevin. Good to see you.
Bad people come out at night. It would be good to get rid of them.
That is so horrifyingly violent, and I love her so much. Anyway, Biscuit says, as long as you know that that the Austrian painter was bad guy. A lot of people don't respect. Oh, you're talking about guns. I thought you were talking about the Austrian painter. Either, both, whatever. So about guns. A lot of people both don't respect guns and don't know enough about them to handle them in a mature and responsible manner. That is unfortunately very true. In my experience, most gun owners tend to be incredibly, relatively very responsible with them. Because they know the concerns. They know how dangerous firearms can be, and they know how dangerous they can be, especially in the wrong hands, and all that. Oh, look, corrupt guards. I'm just one-shotting most of the little guys.
What a waste.
Alright, that's all. It's all of them for now. I don't know if they're corrupt guards or false guards. I don't actually remember. I know we find that out eventually, but... Yeah, Wizkid says, Kylie says, I would be big dumb if I was handed one. And yeah, that's the thing, is, typically the only people who will just sort of... Most of the people who will just hand you a firearm are going to kind of walk you through it and do so carefully in a controlled environment and all that kind of stuff. If somebody's just sort of in an alleyway and hands you a firearm, leave. Definitely leave. That is the opposite of the kind of situation that you want to be handling a firearm in with someone who is foolish enough to just sort of here, howdy stranger, have this. Back away. Back away. Private Investigator says, for my job, we required, I think, like a week or two of firearm training. I could definitely tell some of my colleagues had never handled a firearm before. Yeah, it's, the first time I handled a pistol, I knew the basics. I knew all of firearm safety, like, theoretically.
I saw Carl go inside a few minutes ago.
But I still accidentally pointed at my arm or my hand at some point when I was like, racking the slide. I still put my hand in front of the barrel at some point, which you do not ever do, but I didn't have the instinct of clearing the barrel, right? So it's the kind of thing that having somebody there who knows what they're doing to sort of help you through it, that's incredibly helpful with any kind of safety protocol, particularly with something very dangerous like firearms, which are, right? They deserve a level of respect and responsibility. This kid says, and yet they want it to be a cop, I presume, private investigator, presumably, right? I take it from the screen name. Which again, if it's the kind of thing where there are, I mean, you may need firearm certification and never wind up using it for a lot of law enforcement adjacent professions. Kevin says the Austrian painter is also tragic in that he was drawn to the church in his early years. I did not know that. Really? Yeah, that is tragic. So I'm sorry. I have to bring up Loki again because I'm still gonna get around to that video. Don't worry. I'm gonna do a video on Loki in Theory of Time, but I have to go around. I have to go back to this and to whine about it some more. Kevin says he could have used the oratory power to be a great homilist. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? Can you imagine? That would have been incredible. With a proper moral education, hopefully at least able to overcome any kind of innate tendencies he may have had. My gosh, that would have been spectacular. But alas, the world is as it is, and not as we wish it were. Right, so, talking about Loki, so, canonically, in the MCU, because of the TVA, the Time Variance Authority, we now know officially that if Bad Austrian Painter Man had succeeded in art school, then he would have been pulled out of the timeline, pushed to the end of it, and eaten by a giant purple dragon monster cloud. Because that would have been an unacceptable variant to have prevented the you-know-what bad thing in the 40s. Private investigator says, no, not law enforcement. I'm a private investigator in the state of Michigan. And WizKid is a citizen of the state of Michigan, as he says. How serendipitous, indeed. I am a Floridian, or Florida man, as we are often called on the internet. Always kind of have been. I like it here. I don't like the weather here, but everything else is nice. Oh, man. Anyway. Now let's go for it.
I didn't see anyone suspicious out here. Let's do this fast.
All right. I'll handle the talking. You watch for Templars.
All right. Desperately need to fix that clock. My wall clock.
Just let me talk to him.
The minute hand is correct. It says 52 because it's 9:52. But the hour hand is just past 10 instead of just before 10. It's still readable, but it's slightly confusing when I looked up at it. So, gonna have to fix that eventually. Just sort of out of whack a little bit. Hey, Carl.
Anders, I know you too well. I knew you would never give up.
What's wrong? Why are you talking like...
I was too rebellious, like you. The Templars knew I had to be made an example of.
No!
How else will mages ever master themselves? You'll understand, Anders. As soon as the Templars teach you to control yourself. This is the apostate.
No!
You will never take another mage as you took him.
Uh-oh. So, apostate and abomination, technically. For being overly technical. Ow! Why is there a Templar stabby McStabberson guy? I don't like that.
Anders, what did you do? It's like you brought a piece of the Fade into this world. I had already forgotten what that feels like.
I thought the Tranquil were cut off from the Fade forever.
When you're tranquil, you never think on your life before. But it's like the Fade itself is inside Anders, burning like a sun. Please, kill me before I forget again. I don't know how you brought it back, but it's fading.
Carl, no.
Maybe we can find a cure.
Can you cure a beheading? The dreams of tranquil mages are severed. There is nothing left of them to fix.
I would rather die a mage than live as a Templar puppet.
So, couple things. So, Kevin, I don't know what you're talking about. Speaking of guns, I had to do the Saddam Hussein thing once with my 12 gauge. It was kind of cool. Do you mean the whole, like, putting it in a tube and burying it in the yard thing? Something else. Kylie, Stabby McStabberson guy. Yeah, there was a Stabby McStabberson Templar guy. I didn't much appreciate being stabbed in the back with 2 knives at once. Anyway, yeah, I also don't appreciate tranquility. This is the sort of dark side of the Rite of Tranquility that we see and hear about in Dragon Age Origins. So if you recall, mages get their power from the Fade, which is the world of dreams. It is also the world of will. And so, in order for Templars to cut off the power of a mage, what they have to do is make them tranquil. What this does is it cuts them off from all dreams, emotions, and presumably, at least, now this is ambiguous, but presumably will, their own will. It makes them basically empty, soulless husks of people as they're depicted here. It's a lot less, it's depicted a lot less horrifically in Origins, but it sort of escalates. Like, we see, if nothing else, we certainly see a greater, a more evil perspective of things as we get through into Dragon Age 2 and then into Inquisition, the next game. And so we see some of the darker sides of what the Chantry does to mages and how mages are treated, and we start to really ramp up this sort of mage-Templar conflict. Kevin says, haha, no, when he stood on a balcony and fired it one-handed into the air. Oh, okay. The thing that is under most circumstances very illegal that President Joe Biden, before he was president, strongly recommended that everyone do. Right, that. Yeah. That does sound a lot of fun, and I'd love to do it at some point, but yeah. But yeah, seeing as he is as depicted here, and as Hawke would understand it especially, stripped away of basically everything that makes him a real person. Yeah, allowing Anders to kill him. Also, it's certainly what Anders wants, so... Illegal, schwillegal. Yeah, usually my way of thinking about things.
I would rather die than be tranquil. Help him.
Yeah, especially Hawke as a mage.
I'm sorry, Carl. I'm so sorry.
Now, it's fading. Why do you look at me like that?
Goodbye. We should leave before more Templars come.
Oh, notice his outfit. He has one of these bad boys. Which is very like 18th century.
Was it?
This
Strange
is
for the
hard to
setting.
explain. When I was in Amaranthine, I met a spirit of justice who was trapped outside the Fade. We became friends, and he recognized the injustice that mages in Thedas face every day.
Remember Justice? Here he is. See what I meant? Back in Dragon Age Origins Awakening, when I was talking about how much I love the character of Anders and how much I love the character of Justice. And remember how I was saying that both of them, we meet both of them in Dragon Age 2, but in a very different way. And in a way that I think does a lot of damage to the character and character writing. It's fascinating. Don't get me wrong. And it's something that we'll be continuously kind of talking about, because there's a lot to say about this sort of union of the two. But it's very, very different from the way we interacted with Anders or Justice in Awakening. Wizkid says, taking with a will, you say, naughty, naughty. Indeed, yeah, you're effectively, if that is what's happening, and this is open to debate, really, but if that's what's happening, you're effectively, I mean, this phrase has weird political connotations and Orwellian connotations, but you're unpersoning someone. You're keeping someone alive, but you're cutting them off from so many of the faculties of their mind that they're incapable of acting as a person. And really, that is first of all, an absolutely heinous thing to do to someone, if that is in fact what's going on. But then also, it's effectively killing them. It's a kind of it's typically compared to a sort of magical lobotomy, which, you know, I know little about the specifics of the practice from the sort of 20th century for the most part, but when it was done, it resulted in sort of robotic automatons of people who were shadows of their former selves, incapable of acting freely of their own accord, which is, again, just horrifying.
And that's different than a demon.
Just as demons prey on the deadly sins of mankind, there are good spirits who embody our virtues. Spirits of compassion, fortitude, justice. They are the Maker's first children, and they have all but given up on us.
Private Investigator, welcome back. You just grabbed some coffee. You missed that Anders is sort of an abomination. We were talking about some of the horrors and terrors of tranquility, of being sort of cut off from one's magic in this setting, and that it effectively does make one less than a person, less than fully human, less than fully personal. Kevin says, the idea of a world wherein only good choices are possible sounds wormy to me. Yeah. It sounds wormy. I think I don't exactly know what that means, but Kevin says, I mean in the context of a controlled world, it seems icky. Okay, worse than icky. It's impossible. It's metaphysically impossible, right? And this is something that I go into a lot in class, and I don't try to think if there is somewhere where I explain it explicitly enough in a recorded lecture. If not, I need to. Let me write this down so I can see if I can find where I might talk about this. Right? Because Anselm of Canterbury talks about this very extensively and very, very, very precisely and very well on free choice, in the dialogue on free choice. Or free choice or freedom of choice? I have the book here. No, we're on top of the stack, so I couldn't tell you. It's either on free choice or on freedom of choice. I don't remember which, but it's one of his dialogues, and he points out that the capacity to choose good carries with it the capacity to choose evil, but the inverse is not the case. The capacity to choose evil does not necessarily entail the capacity to choose good, and the reason for this, right, is that by analogy, right, evil is privation. It's a lack of being. It's an imperfection. It's something which falls short of the good, right? And so an evil choice is a choice which does not meet the proper standard of what it ought to. So my example is, suppose that you're capable of, suppose you can lift 100 pounds. Right? You can do something that is relatively difficult. If you can lift 100 pounds, then you also necessarily are capable of lifting 50 pounds. If you're capable of fully enacting your will and fully doing something, then you are necessarily capable of incompletely enacting one's will, doing something not as fully. And so, if you're capable of doing good, you are necessarily capable of doing evil. Now, what this means is that the choice to do evil is an insufficient or incomplete exercise of one's will. In other words, it's a lack of will, not a fulfillment of one's will. Now, this gets complicated with respect to the will as a power which can be exercised to any degree, yada, 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 a bunch of stuff here. But the simple statement of it is that a world in which we are only capable of doing the good, metaphysically only capable of doing the good, is an impossibility. God could not have created such a world. Now, what he can create is ultimately, through salvation and getting to heaven, as WizKid, or Kevin and WizKid are kind of arguing about a little bit, so I'll get into this because it's also an interesting digression, relevant though. That in heaven our wills are perfected, meaning we are capable of not choosing evil. In other words, we're capable of not falling short perfectly. We're perfectly capable of not falling short of what we ought to be choosing. And given that, why would we? It really comes down to it's something as simple as that, especially with experiencing the beatific vision, right? in the clear, immediate presence of God. We would have nothing lesser to choose. There'd be nothing lesser worth choosing, and so we would choose only the good. Again, Anselm lays this out spectacularly well on freedom of choice, and then further in On the Fall of the Devil, where he explains Satan's fall through this kind of insufficient choice. WizKid says it's tantamount to slavery almost, intellectual, philosophical, existential servitude. Not even servitude. You're right. It's like a spiritual lobotomy. Yeah, it's like a lack of being. It's a lack of personhood. Kevin asked how it would differ from state being in heaven. I hopefully answered that well enough. WizKid says heaven is unity with God. Anything less than that is pagan and not really Christian. Yes, but I don't know. Not completely relevant. Maybe. I mean, the unity with God is an important aspect of what allows us to perfectly, freely choose the good. WizKid says, see, I figured evil was the willing corruption and inversion of the good. Inversion a little less so. That gets a little bit Manichaean, so be a little bit careful there, but more or less. It says, okay, now I see. And I still think willful corruption has its place too in regards to the full-blown evil, what full-blown evil is. And you know what? I'm going to say probably the most controversial thing that I've said tonight, and I almost said the words that Austrian Painter did nothing wrong. I think that Malekith, the villain from Thor: The Dark World, is absolutely fascinating as an antagonist. No one has ever thought that before. That is an unthought thought. That is something about which basically the entire world disagrees with me, because he's not particularly well written, to be fair, or well acted, or there's tons of problems, but whatever, who cares? Conceptually, Malekith is absolutely fascinating in Thor: The Dark World. There was an animated Thor movie where he was a more political threat, right? Where he was a former advisor to King Odin, yada, 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 yada. Who cares? The version in Thor: The Dark World in the MCU is amazing, at least conceptually, because he represents this kind of pure evil. As close to pure evil as we can get. Or damn near, right? So, if you recall, the Dark Elves, their goal is pure non-being. the goal of the Dark Elves, led by Malekith, is not for the sake of constructing something new. It is for the sake of disintegrating that which is. Of pulling apart and destroying the world as it is, the world full of light. It is purely an evil, it is a motivation purely of evil. Not the typical villain, the typical cliched villain, which is very, very close to pure evil, right? The maximal evil. It's the kind of thing that Satan is, for that matter. But the will to power, right? Because power is a good thing. Malekith represents what it would look like to pursue evil for evil's sake. And that might not be possible, which is probably why it was very difficult to write such a character. It didn't turn out great in execution, but conceptually, man, that's fascinating. Because of course it didn't turn out great in execution, because it's a wacky, maybe impossible concept, but the fact that it was a concept that was actually employed in a Marvel film, relatively early on at that, really cool to me. Really cool to me. Anyway, there's that. The other example of this is Ungoliant from the Silmarillion. The mother of spiders. Who was, by the way, her origin is shrouded in mystery. No one in the Silmarillion, no one is quite clear on what she is or where she is from or how she was created or why she was created or if she was created, which is troubling. She is described as a being of pure darkness from, a being of pure, I forget if it's malice or hatred from the outer darkness. The outer darkness being the part of the world that was not created. Whiskey says sort of like the Thalmor in the Elder Scrolls? I don't think so. The Thalmor are almost purely political and, if anything, almost religious, like religious zealots in their motivations, aren't they? As I understand it. But Ungoliant is fascinating because she is nothing. And her goals are nothing. And to bring the world to nothing. And to destroy and to consume everything that is and everything that is light and everything that has been made. Kevin hates the Thalmor so much. You guys are going to have to red pill me on the Thalmor. I hate him as much as the next guy, but maybe I don't. Maybe I just don't understand why I hate them enough. I just hate them because they're totalitarians and really underhanded about it. Theologically, they're probably closer to right with the whole Talos thing, but whatever. Human becoming divine. A Nord becoming divine. I don't know Elder Scrolls lore terribly well, but anyway. Like I said, you guys might need to red pill me on the Thalmor.
What does this have to do with your eyes glowing?
Oh yeah, being possessed by a spirit.
He needed a host. I offered to help him. We were going to work together. Bring justice to every child ever ripped away from his mother to be sent to the Circle. But I guess I had too much anger. Once he was inside me, he changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, taking up the quest for justice out of anger can, of course, lead instead to a quest for vengeance. This guy says Dementio in Super Paper Mario is kind of like that, except his whole shtick is to use the power of the Chaos Heart to destroy all worlds and remake them perfectly in his own image. That's just like Endgame Thanos, too. Like, the whole remaking it thing is just satanic hubris, that's all. That's interesting, it's there, but it's not the pure destruction for destruction's sake that should be metaphysically impossible. Oh, see you later, Private Investigator. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully see you next time.
So, you have this spirit of justice living in your head?
It's not like that. He's gone now. He's part of me. It's not like we can have a conversation. I feel his thoughts as my own. Not even the greatest scholar could tell you where I end and he begins.
Huh. Oh, okay, so WizKid says, no, the Thalmor's end goal is to basically destroy Mundus. so they can, quote, be like the Aedra again. So basically they want to destroy the world so they can become gods. Okay. Sounds Gnostic. Sounds like their sort of metaphysics is that they're trapped within bodies kind of thing, and they want to sort of escape corporeal bondage so that they can become... Because Aedra, as I understand it, are the powerful spirits of the Elder Scrolls that are the gods, so to speak, that did not enter into Mundus. They did not enter into the world to specifically shape it, because those are the Daedra, right? Something along those lines. And so to become like the Aedra, the way that you're describing, is a kind of escape from corporeal bondage, which is very, very Gnostic. Very Gnostic. Kevin says they're envious of Talos. Wizkid says, good job, Anders, you ruined him. Yeah. Justice ruined Anders too, so don't give him all of the blame. This was a two-way street of abomination forming. And I say abomination in the very technical sense of that is what it is called in Dragon Age when a spirit or a demon overshadows or takes over a mage.
That really didn't look like a happy, benevolent spirit from where I was standing.
Since when is justice happy? Justice is righteous. Justice is hard. But my anger, when I see Templars now, things that have always outraged me, but I could never do anything about, he comes out. And he is no longer my friend, Justice. He is a force of vengeance, and he has no grasp of mercy.
Don't say it. Don't say it. No. No. Let's not do that. Wizkid says, not even that. The very idea of Talos is anathema to them. They literally cannot comprehend or stand his existence. Oh, so, wait. I get how they're envious of him. To me, it just seems that they are offended that a human could do what they couldn't. And, they're typical elves. I'm sorry, that's mean, but typical low fantasy elves. Let's put it that way. Typical non-Tolkien elves. I will say I'm not so sure about this whole, like, Anders saying that, well, there was nothing he could do before, when we first, if you recall, we first see him in Awakening literally just wipe out a group of Templars that are coming after him. So, I think he was pretty capable before. Kevin says, I wonder if Sithis is something of a type of Ungoliant. Maybe. It seems like it. Sithis seems to have positive goals, though. Not purely for the sake of destruction. He seems to be creative, as I understand the lore. Creative to some degree, at least. The void before creation, but that which is directed towards creation, more than just the void before creation that seeks to bring everything out of being. Wizkid says, it's been a while, but basically High Elves and the Elder Scrolls were the first mortals created and are literally descended from the gods, in a way that none of the other mortal races are. I thought technically per the lore, I thought it was the Falmer, the Snow Elves that become the Falmer, and then the Dwemer. I thought those were the first elves. Again, maybe I'm wrong, but again, I don't know much of Elder Scrolls lore. I only vaguely played Oblivion. I've played Skyrim a few times, as most have, and I've played some Elder Scrolls Online. I never actually played Morrowind. Bits and pieces, but I've never actually played through Morrowind. Or Daggerfall. I don't know how much lore is in Daggerfall, though. Anyway. Wizkid says, probably, seeing as how Sithis predates most of the other deities by a long shot. Yeah, and like I said, I think that Sithis represents more of a the nothing that noths, as it were, the nothing which is directed towards being something. Lawrence Krauss's idea of nothing. That famous quote of his, who, by the way, is an idiot. Maybe he's a good physicist, but dear Lord, is he stupid when it comes to everything else. But he says something along the lines of, given the laws of gravity and something else, the universe will always create itself from nothing. Okay, idiot. Sorry, I can't take him seriously even for a moment.
Can you bring him out at will?
No. He comes only when I've lost all power over myself. It's a madness, a frenzy. I only find out after what I might have done.
Can justice ever be separated from you?
I don't think so. The only way a spirit has ever been separated from a living host is by its death. The curse is of my own making. All I can do now is hope to control it.
Is there anything I can do for you?
You're the first one I've ever told this. Thank you for not running away.
I thought about it.
Yours, as am I if you wish me to join your expedition.
Yeah,
I thought I was done with the Grey Wardens. But if you have any need of me, I will be waiting here.
Cool. Let's not bring him yet. We will, but not yet. Actually, yeah, let's switch out a couple of people, because we need to equip people, if nothing else. And level them up. Alright. Okay. Kevin says, wow, I haven't paid much attention to Kraus, but dang. If that's what he thinks, I didn't miss much. No, you didn't. You really didn't. He's not bright. I mean, he's probably bright, but he is hilariously unfocused. Let's give him healing stuff, because oh boy, do we need healing. I need level 10. Oh. Okay, that'll work. Huh. Okay, so Wizkid says, no. All elves are descended from the Altmare. Technically the Golden Elves, but I digress, whatever. Snow Elves were the original rulers of Skyrim, but even they and the other original Mare, rulers of Tamriel, are all descended from the Altmare. Okay. Huh. I didn't realize that, but that makes sense, I suppose. Okay, zoned out. What's happening? We just got Anders, and he is an abomination. Anders, if you recall, Anders from Dragon Age Origins Awakening, from the last game, he has combined himself with Justice, also from the last game. Cool. He has taken the spirit of justice into himself. And in the meantime, it's been a very bad idea, really. Nice sword. No. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Anders needs Freedom's Promise. That is very much his staff, and it has cows tied to it. as it should, I suppose. It's a little weird, but whatever. Definitely. Almost definitely that. Alright, so we eventually need to go now back to the house. Ooh. This valley thing is very cool. It's a trench, I guess. Very, very cool. Alright.
Freedom.
Those shits better pay up.
Varric,
Carver,
still think you're helping while bearing us in debt to your brother?
still riding side saddle while bitching at your betters?
Drinks later?
Never miss 'em.
They love and hate each other both. It's great. Alright, let's go to Gamlen's house. Let's pick up some stuff for Carver. And no, we have everything for Carver. We need stuff for Anders now. No, all of this is generalized. Where's... maybe it's this one. Maybe that's actually nice, but it's not as great. Great. No, I can't do that yet. Oh, that's nice. Ring of the Awakened. Yeah, for Anders. That's better too. Here's... that's it. Alright, let's equip some stuff for us. Like that. It looks ridiculous. A long track. Alright. Okay, let's do a bunch of this stuff, shall we? Evan says it's strange to be encouraged. Is it strange to be encouraged by seeing people to go to confession a lot? Obviously, it would be preferable for people to practice virtue, but something about seeing people frequent it is heartening. That is true. I mean, all sin and fall short of the glory of God, right? And there needs to be something to be done about that. And thankfully, we have something to be done about that. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Still need rings for Anders, but that's fine. I really like her Chevalier's Reach. It's such a cool sword. It's really minimalistic, but I really like it. So she's not actually going to switch. I'm not actually going to switch her stuff out. Not that. Okay. Diddly-doo. Whiskey says that at least they're trying to repent. No one's perfect, and we shouldn't look down on them for that. Exactly, and it's a very good thing that the option is there, you know.
Well, if it ain't my favorite new citizen.
Hi,
what
boss.
are you doing here?
A good question.
Did you finally figure out being free and poor in Kirkwall ain't worth a rat's spit?
You had an offer for me.
You mean you're not too good for my kind of work? Because the blokes I hired after you couldn't find their arse with both hands. I sent them to take out Lord Harriman while he was preparing his cargo for shipping. Nighttime, docks, simple. Never came back.
I assume this isn't personal?
Job's paid for second-hand by some other old Kirkwall family. The nobles here like to shank each other for sport. We're just their knives.
Who's Lord Harriman?
I don't know the who, but the what is old and rich. Rumor says he's a savvy one. His daughters give him marriage ties to half the city.
I haven't heard a job in this yet.
The job's the same. Kill Harriman, but there'll be a bonus if you find my men alive.
I mean, I would say I don't kill for coin, but I have been for a year, so... I mean, Hawke, especially at this point. He needs work, he needs money, let's just do it.
I'm sure I can finish what they started.
They were supposed to ambush him at the docks. That'd be the best place to start looking. And remember, Harriman dead, my lad Gustav alive. Other way around, then you don't get paid.
Alright then, Kevin says, I have a passion for it, really. I love seeing people go and feel very close to God in it. I even feel closer to others as we're waiting for it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to add to that. Yeah, I think you're right. Wait, where is... Okay, hold on. No. And so the contact. Wait, this isn't the docks? Alright, fine. Well, I guess I'll go do that later. Later this evening.
Are you Ansel?
Ah! Sweet mother of Parth, you can't just run up on someone like that. Are you the one that mercenary told me about? The one looking for work?
I used to work with the Red Iron, if that's what you mean.
Yes, it is. What I mean, that is... My apologies, human. I haven't been on the surface very long. I keep thinking I'll fall up into that sky any minute.
Bartrand used to be like that. Got jumpy every time he stepped outside.
But I digress.
This sounds familiar from the last game.
Rather badly, in fact. Some product of mine has been misplaced. The men who were supposed to deliver it decided not to. If you retrieve my property, I could reward you handsomely.
Okay.
Just what did these men steal?
Did I say steal? I don't know if I would go that far. They seemed like perfectly reasonable smugglers. They smiled and everything. The goods are valuable, however, and illegal. And my client wants them very, very badly. You know how these Templars can be.
You're smuggling lyrium to the Templars.
Maker's breath. Between the Chantry, the Carta, and the Coterie.
Shh! By the Paragons, not so loudly!
In before Kevin becomes a priest.
I'm not cut out for this.
Go for it.
I should have taken that job sweeping stables like Mother insisted.
Maybe this is vocational, I don't know. I'm not God, I'm not going to call you to it, but maybe he is. Maybe he will, who knows. Sure.
Make it worth my time and I'll help you.
Oh, I will. Or I'll try to. The gentlemen conduct their business at night in a little hovel within the alienage. If you have to kill them, then I guess it can't be avoided. But I'm sure they'll be reasonable.
Really? Really? Are you sure about that? Because I'm not sure about that. This is this way, right? Yeah.
The alienage should not be this quiet.
The elves should stand with us. They have suffered too.
Kevin says, I think it has a lot to do with being so closely tied with God's heart. As the scriptures say, as the heart of the Lord is mercy. So it's just a very profound and connected thing. Yeah, I agree. It really is. I mean, there's something really importantly profound about sacramental confession that is, I think, missing in a lot of sort of low churchy type Protestantism. That it's a lack of moral certainty and forgiveness, right? Which I think, in large part, really leads to the kind of Lutheran sin boldly type error, right? And I mean, you get the for example, the scruples of Martin Luther, the famous scruples of Martin Luther, where he would go to confession multiple times a day, always concerned that he either hadn't been forgiven or had forgotten something or whatever. Right? And so he radically went in the other direction with his theology, with the sacramental theology. And I think that's awful. It's awful for his spiritual health and for the spiritual health of Protestantism in general going forward. Let's do the healing magic thingy. Whoa! Hello! Jesus.
Is everyone all right?
They were clearly expecting someone.
And those goods are probably in that chest.
Wow, that was quite the thing. Not what I was expecting. Kevin says it's all it's like the gateway into heaven, and heaven is the Eucharist. Yeah. Yeah.
It's empty.
Oh, goody.
Waste of bloody time. Who put us up to this?
I guess we have no choice but to go back to Anso and tell him.
This is a trap. Hey, look, a trap!
That's not the elf. Who is that?
It doesn't matter. We were told to kill whoever enters the house.
Okay, well, this is troubling. Winterhunt. Oh! I didn't realize this was what I think this is. I think we're about to get another companion. Bastard just teleported. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're about to find another companion. If I remember correctly. I forgot he shows up so early. I thought he didn't show up until Act 2.
I don't know who you are, friend, but you made a serious mistake coming here.
Lieutenant, I want everyone in the clearing, now!
Captain!
dead, and your trap has failed. I suggest running back to your master while you can.
You're going nowhere, slave.
I am not a slave. I apologize. When I asked Ansel to provide a distraction for the hunters, I had no idea they'd be so numerous.
Man, like I said, this game is so over the top stylistically. Gotta love it, especially just because this is, you know, in character we have the weird unreliable narrator kind of thing. That this whole thing is just Varric telling a story, so it perfectly well can just be just top tier levels of crazy. With this guy, who's very edgy. Wizkid says it contributes to people, sort of moving away from confession, I take it, contributes to people falling away because they don't think God doesn't actually listens or cares. Hold on. Grammatical problems. Let me try and reword what you said and correct me if I'm wrong. They don't think God actually listens or cares for them. Or they go to the opposite and think that we're hypocrites with a sort of free pass to sin and be bad. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Which, I mean, a lot of the sort of low church Protestants and anti-liturgicalists, I guess you can say, who want to think that they're funny, will say things like, "Well, I can just sin all I want and then go to confession. I'll be good." Okay, are you familiar with the sin of presumption? Because it's a mortal sin. Which is the idea that, well, I can do what I want because I presume God will forgive me. Yeah, no, that's not how that works. You're abusing God's mercy, and that is a kind of blasphemy. So that's great. I don't recommend that. Wizkid doesn't remember this one? Oh, this is over that way. This is Fenris.
You were responsible for this.
I am the reason you're here, yes. My name is Fenris. These men were Imperial bounty hunters, seeking to recover a Magister's lost property, namely myself. They were trying to lure me into the open. Crude as their methods were, I could not face them alone. Thankfully, and so chose wisely.
No, he's not DLC. He's core game. You can, I think at least, go the entire game without actually meeting him if you don't do the right side quest. This side quest in particular. He's not that plot essential. He's maybe I wouldn't say my least favorite. He's certainly interesting, but he's maybe the least interesting. He's the least interesting of the companions to the story of this game. I feel like he is going to be more important in him and his story are going to be more important in Dragon Age 4, now that we're going to Devinter. Kevin says, I had to shut that attitude down a few times in conversation with my prot friends and family. Yeah. It's a tough thing to sort of get through. It's a tough thing to realize is that no, you can't just presume that God is going to do something in particular. That's putting human limitations on God, which is that thing that we always get accused of doing by Protestants, particularly Calvinists. Calvinists especially like to accuse us of that. Kevin says it has no effect without sincerity, at least sincere fear of damnation. And fear of damnation is the least pure form of contrition.
Everything Anso said was a lie, then?
Not everything. Your employer was simply not who you believed.
So yes, you're saying.
If you couldn't fight them, why not just run?
There comes a time when you must stop running, when you turn and face the tiger.
I dig that. I respect that. Picking your moment is hard, but I respect that.
That seems like a lot of effort to find one slave.
It is.
Does this have something to do with those markings?
Yes. I imagine I must look strange to you. I did not receive these markings by choice. Even so, they have served me well. Without them, I would still be a slave.
So, yeah, that's... See, it's very easy to mistake those markings for Elven Vallaslin, the facial tattoos. But no, they're very, very different in function and in place. Although, on the other hand, maybe they're not so different, ultimately. Remember that for the next game. For, like, the end of the next game. But remember it, like, regardless, because... maybe.
If they were really trying to recapture you, then I'm happy I helped.
I have met few in my travels who have sought anything more than personal gain. If I may ask, what was in the chest? The one they kept in the house?
It was empty.
I suppose it was too much to hope for. Even so, I had to know.
You're expecting something else?
I was, but I shouldn't have. It was bait, nothing more.
You're expecting something else?
I was, but I shouldn't have. It was bait.
You didn't need to lie to get my help.
That remains to be seen.
Wizkid, you must have missed him. Jesus, really, I can't believe you missed
My
a
former
character.
master accompanied them to the city.
That can happen,
I know
though.
you have questions, but I must confront him before he flees. I will need your help.
It sounds like you intend to do more than just talk.
Denarius wants to strip the flesh from my bones, and has sent so many hunters that I've lost count. And before that, he kept me on a leash like a Kunari mage, a personal pet to mock Kunari custom.
Ouch.
So, yes, I intend to do more than just talk.
Well, okay then. But yeah, now to be fair, I'm kind of poking fun at you about this, but that said, as I mentioned to you earlier when we were talking to Discord about KOTOR, Knights of the Republic, I did just finish a playthrough of KOTOR 2, and I didn't get what's her name, the Handmaiden, at all. I think I met her, but I didn't actually ask her to come with me. And so she was never a companion, so whoops. Oh well. It's all fine. Like I said, one of the least interesting of the companions. And now I will say I'm more and more so, especially having played it again, I'm much more of a fan of the first KOTOR than the second. I played the second one again recently just to sort of remind myself of that. That said, I kind of still despise Taris, whatever, the first planet you go to in KOTOR, the first game, and the one of the most insufferable planets to get through in the SOTOR, the Old Republic, the MMO, for a lot of reasons. So, but whatever. Anyway, Kevin says it's interesting after a good confession and then asking for spiritual goods. How the mind seems to be flooded with holy thoughts and scriptures, and maybe more importantly, a release of lower passions. Yeah, and it's a kind of letting go of one's attachment to worldly sin, right? And that's the big thing, and that's a large part of the. So I can kind of go into. So this kind of brings me back to what I was talking about with respect to Anselm before. Right, where he talks about the good, choosing the good as the higher, as the more full actualization of the will, right? And why is it that we sin? Well, and why is it that we can make ourselves slaves to sin? Is because when we sin, we cut ourselves off, in a sense, from the will for, or the desire for, or the understanding of higher goods as higher goods, right? We can't fully grasp and we can't fully see the higher goods that we ought to be striving for because we have chosen willfully to reject them in favor of lesser goods. And by doing that, what we're doing is we're cutting ourselves off from grace. And so what we're doing is we are making it so that we cannot recover from our state of enslavement to sin. We choose to enslave ourselves to sin, even though the will itself cannot be itself enslaved by sin. Sin can't enslave the will, but we can make ourselves slaves to sin. Again, relevant to Fenris here, at least in terms of, slavery and whether one can be enslaved and how so, right? And so what the grace of the sacraments does, and this is confession, absolution, but and also the Eucharist, and anointing of the sick, as well as baptism, especially the others as well, but to a less direct, in a less direct way. What the grace of the sacraments does is it releases the will from that bondage, so that the will can then reach and strive for the greatest of goods, which is the will for God, the will for justice. So then it makes it so that we are then capable of reaching that higher good that we weren't before. Whiskey says, like I told you, I feel like I missed a solid 35% of this game, and it saddens me greatly. I'm going to go for something closely resembling 100% in this game. So, probably not quite. I'm not going to do all the collecty thing probably, but I'm doing all of the story stuff. Okay, WizKid says, so you do agree with Noah on that. Noah Caldwell-Gervais, WizKid sent me a video from Noah Caldwell-Gervais. I'll put a link to it in the description. It's worth watching. It is worth watching. I disagree wholeheartedly with almost all of it, but it's worth watching. It's an analysis of Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. And I don't agree with Noah about Taris, because the reasons he has for disliking Taris are completely opposite of my reasons for disliking Taris. Noah thinks that it is a sort of shoehorned in necessity to fit with the hero's journey arc that Revan goes on throughout the first game. I'm sorry, spoilers, by the way. Anyway, so he thinks that it is sort of shoehorned in there as a kind of, well, we need this beginning part of the hero's journey, the familiar, the call to action, the call to adventure, and all that stuff that you need in the first sort of arc of the hero's journey on its way down into the underworld. But no, entirely the opposite. Taris is entirely a subversion of the classical hero's journey, which he is too blinded by his own ideology to understand, blinded by his own desire to critique in a particular way. The problem with Taris is that it is a kind of call to adventure, a call to the hero's journey, right? It is a call to, you're already outside of the norm, right? You're already thrown into new circumstances involuntarily against your will. So to hell with that first part. It being the part of the adventure where you are at home and then are going outwards. But no, it is the whole point of it is that you are trying to help people in order to get off the planet, because you want to escape this danger. Okay. But the whole time you were helping people and helping people and helping people and helping people, and you basically save several civilizations, or at least several parts of the civilization on Taris. And then the planet gets reduced to slag by orbital bombardment, killing almost everyone that you helped. The only very, very few people who survive this massive orbital bombardment, the only people you interacted with for whom it actually matters even slightly, excuse me, are some of the denizens of the Undercity, the extremely destitutely poor, who are contending with rat ghouls, which are like, sci-fi zombies, basically. They're these monsters that are transformed from human beings and other aliens. And you help them get to what they call the Promised Land, somewhere that's free from rat ghouls, free from the radiation and the disease that's in the Undercity. Right? You help them get there. You help them try and find it. But as it turns out, you find this out in SWTOR in the MMO. When you go back to Taris, you find out that they found the Promised Land, but that due to the orbital bombardment, it had been irradiated and ultimately pretty much destroyed. And so when they get there, they slowly and painfully and horrifyingly die out due to gradual radiation poisoning. So everything you do on Taris, everything, becomes entirely meaningless. And so this is really it's not a fulfillment of the hero's journey. It's a subversion of the hero's journey right from the outset. That all of the heroism, all of the good deeds that you do are ultimately not just thankless, but meaningless. And that you need to focus further. You need to put your focus further on the horizon. Look far into the future at the ultimate goal rather than at helping people along the way. It's basically, again, a subversion of what Yoda says to Luke in Empire. Is always on the horizon. That whole thing, you know? Not a fan of Taurus. So, not for Noah Cauldron Gervais's reasons, though. His reasons are hilariously wrong. They're also very petty. A lot of his criticism comes to a level design aspect from a game from 2001.
If it means fighting more slavers, I'll help you.
1 or 2, whatever.
I will find a way to repay you. I swear it.
About 20 years ago.
Staying at a mansion in Hightown. Meet me there as soon as you can. We must enter before morning.
Oh, okay. Well, let's go do it. Aveline likes that we're helping slaves. Alright, let's do some more stuff around here. Then we'll go up and help in Hightown. Doodly-doo. What's this? Hey, stop. Whew. They just explode into piles of blood, don't they? Wow, I missed.
You do get results, don't you?
That's right. Oh, all right, Kylie. Kylie says log off early. Getting really sleepy. Night, everybody. Love the live stream. Can't wait for the next one. Good night, Kylie. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time. We'll be back Monday, as usual, for Nier. Hey, what? Ah, jeez, really? God, there's more? Okay. Sharp little pinpricks. Directions of the Sharp's base. We've got a new base. And you lot best keep the law away. Directions to the Lowtown sneak below. But don't come unless you've got some good news, or you'll get an answer square between the eyes. Ignacio Strand. Eric, are you watching this? Because you can take some inspiration from this. Jeez. Kevin says, ironic, coming from me, the dude that regularly falls asleep during the stream. Yeah. Oh, saying goodnight, big Kylie the big sleepyhead. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Hey, you're allowed to be hypocritical. It's fine. As long as you acknowledge it. Kevin Wiskin says it's interesting because normally he's very thorough when it comes to far-flung consequences in a setting. It wasn't my favorite of his reviews, but I am glad I exposed you to him. I've seen a thing or two of his before. I forget what. I do certainly admire the depth of his analysis. I just think he's wrong about basically all of it. And again, it comes from his postmodern lens. is deeply postmodern lens. Do check it out. Do check it out. I'd be willing to sort of talk more about it if anybody is interested. Yeah. Even honestly, I've thought about looking into. I've thought about doing a kind of EFAP formatted, go through and watch videos and things, and with people on stream, in Discord or whatever, and just sort of pause and talk about things.
Here, miss. Word is you're looking for help. And paying well.
I need someone native to the dark places beneath Lowtown. If you claim as much, yes, I will pay.
I am. Let's just step into this alley, and me and my fellows can have a look at the money on offer.
Really?
Another sad Lowtown tale in the making. As if we needed another.
Can you save someone so intent on being foolish?
I mean, we can try.
Don't like interruptions. None of this nonsense, I promise.
Oh my god, I just killed most of them with one hit. It's ridiculous.
Well, thank you for your timely intervention. I am out of my element.
A foolish risk in Lowtown.
I had to come here to get the type of person I need. Someone of bloody skill, but also integrity. Perhaps the kind who might leap to someone's defense. I have a charge who needs passage from the city. If
That
you're
was a
willing
trick.
and capable, meet me at my safe house nearby.
That's a very clever trick.
You make a lot of assumptions. It almost got you killed already.
All the more reason to end this quickly. You must need coin. Everyone here does. Varnell.
Okay.
Not so helpless, I see.
I hope you will come. This matter only grows more urgent with time.
Okay. WizKid says Kevin laughs in playing games over stream and getting distracted. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing you can do. That's the thing I do. Man, I tell you what. That is one of those reasons why I am utterly spoiled by two monitors. I can have something going over here and not be too overly distracted by what I'm doing over here. It's I gotta say, if you've ever considered throwing a second monitor on your computer and you have the desk space for it, it's
Old
totally worth it.
Vincento said someone might come sniffing around. You're looking for the boy, right? Feign something. I'll tell you now, there's not much I can do for you.
He looks nothing like he looks in the next game. I mean, he looks just as much dying of something, but otherwise not so much. Oh, worth noting, Anders also winds up kind of... I think he gradually changes over the course of the game to look like he's closer and closer to sort of dying of AIDS.
I'm looking for a retired Templar named Samson.
Retired. Sounds better than burned out husk of a Templar begging coins in the choke damp. They don't do anything to keep you, you know. You join the order, you're free to walk away. But they're the only ones who've got the dust.
The dust?
Lyrium, an ore the dwarves mine. Magic in its raw form. You need to drink the stuff to face down the magicers. Problem is, if you ever try to stop, just about kills you.
Yeah, so you get addicted to drinking magic juice. Cool doing being a Templar. Anyway, like I was saying, I would be interested in doing that kind of live stream once in a while of getting on with some of you folks and doing an EFAP style, like just kind of pause and discuss of different videos and things. One of the things that I've really been wanting to do that for have been the papers that were presented at the Tolkien Society, which, based on the titles and based on what I know about what's going on there, are universally awful. The one that I actually saw, which was the Gondor and Transition one, was bad. It was just absolutely unbelievably bad. And that would be definitely something that I would like to sort of go on with some of you guys and talk about and discuss. So if any of you would be interested in that, have a good time for it, or want to jump on the Discord, do a live stream, talk it through, go through it and, pause and tear the thing to shreds, either that one or any of the other ones or whatever else, definitely let me know. That would be something I'd be interested in doing. Kevin says, yeah, Vince is like right in the middle of explaining something, and suddenly, wow, hold on, I'm getting blown up 5 minutes later. Anyway, yeah, I know. This happens to me a lot. The combat is decently fast-paced in this game, so it goes relatively quickly, but it's also a little bit hard to continue talking. Especially, it's hard to keep reading you guys' chats while I am in the middle of fighting. Also, I don't want to talk over people talking. That's the other thing, which always good season. Yeah, the postmodern insanity, or the postmodernism intensely annoys me, because he'll be right on target and then miss by just enough that it infuriates me to no end. Because Manic Pixie Dream Girl video is much better. That's one I haven't seen, so I might have to.
Is it true you give aid to apostates fleeing the Templars?
The mages I help. They're no more than children, newly discovered their magic and terrified.
So I take it you're talking about the trope?
Barely left their mother's skirts, and now we're saying they got to be locked away for their own good. That demons are hunting them. Do you wonder they run?
Did you meet the boy?
Afraid so. Blighter was dead broke though, not a silver on him. I helped one mageling for free, and I'll never get paid again.
I pity any mage who is forced to rely on you for protection.
I pointed him to a ship captain I know, Rayner. Sometimes he'll take on runaways. Took another apostate last week, girl I sent him. Might have gone wrong though. I heard rumors he took the both of them captive instead.
Oh, goody.
Please tell me it's not too late to save him.
Rumor has it, Rayner had the pair of them locked inside a Keys warehouse, somewhere close to dockside. You want to go looking? You might find the lad before he gets ransomed to the Templars. Or worse.
So, this is actually something that someone has brought up before, criticizing some of the design aspects in Dragon Age 2. These bloody spikes in place of handrails. This is one of the most horrifying cities that one I can imagine trying to live in. Just aesthetically speaking. Like, man, that's dangerous and ugly. Oh, hi. Ooh, okay. Oh no, you got blood on your coat. Whatever shall you do, Varric? Okay. Oh, hi. Alright. Got him. WizKid says, if I had time or can make time, I'd be down. Cool.
Good job in there.
Let me know.
In fact, get rid of any other groups like that, and I'll be at the Hanged Man with some toys as reward.
Cool.
Courtesy of some interested friends.
Who are you?
Well, how about that?
It says bloody spike handrails help chunksters, but aren't elder friendly. Yeah, you could say that again. I don't know. They remind me of the anti-homelessness spikes you see in big cities. I mean, they can't possibly serve the same function, can they? There's no way. They look almost defensive to just keep people from climbing up over the sides or something. I don't know. It's hard to say. This is... What is this? Shepherding Wolves. Yeah, let's not do that one yet. There are other sort of priorities that we need to do first. Let's swap out Anders for Meryl, because I like Meryl. Excuse me. Our tried and true crew. Main switch. Wayward Son, yeah. Rescuing Fainreal. It says, it's an analysis of American McGee's Alice games. And he touches on the trope in regards to Alice in Wonderland in general quite a few times. Not bad, primarily because it isn't about Star Wars. Oh no, does he have bad Star Wars takes? Oh, wait a minute. I think I saw one of his Star Wars videos. I think it was his Last Jedi video. But it might have even been his Rise of Skywalker one, which I know he didn't like from... No, it was the Last Jedi one, because I remember I was angry at it. Kevin says, yeah, like thieves would have to actually go down the streets in stairways instead of jumping the walls and ledges. I mean, they could, but it would be much, much more difficult and very dangerous. Got him. Yeah, okay, so the unfortunate part, the only unfortunate part really, is that if I did want to do a long-form sort of reaction video to his, either to that one or anything else, it would be exceedingly difficult.
What are they trying to do? Ruin my boots?
It'd be exceedingly difficult just due to the length.
Piece of cake.
It would be worth maybe doing for a small part of it, like analyzing just his analysis of KOTOR 1 one at a time, that sort of thing. But in my experience, if you're going to do a proper reaction to the full length of a video like that, and this is from both watching a lot of podcasts that do this, EFAP and others, and then also having done so, if you remember the live stream I did with Sean Malone from Foundation for Economic Education, on that value democracy video, the one that was basically just saying, yay, free speech, but I don't mean free speech when I say free speech, to be uncharitable. That one, it takes at the very least twice as long to discuss a video as the length of the video.
That's not really my thing.
Usually a lot longer. Erica says, hey, Eddie, game tomorrow. Game tomorrow. And game the next day. The other game the next day. Both. Erica's running a game on Fridays, and I'm running a game on Saturdays. Of D&D, by the way, if anyone's not sure what I'm talking about. Kevin says, honestly, honestly, it's not a good design. I always try to find an argument for dumb things when possible for funsies. Yeah, I mean, it's an argument. It's just not a very good one. I mean, it's something. I'm sure it's just aesthetic, really, but...
Get the hands! I heard they can't do no spells without hands.
Oh, no. Uh-oh.
You know nothing of magic.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Ah! Okay, there are way too many undead here. I don't like this. There are a lot of undead here because of this abomination. WizKid says he did just make one on the Kyle Katarn games. To my knowledge, he doesn't do straight-up movie reviews. You might be thinking of Neril, my go-to intellectual property guy, doesn't exist guy. I don't think so. I thought it was Noah Calder-Vez who did one on The Last Jedi. It might have been something else where he talked about it, because I know I heard him talk about The Last Jedi in a positive light. Anyway, Olivia's letter to Thrask. Well, she's dead. Father, I know the sacrifices you've made to conceal my secret. I am no longer a child. Oh, excuse me. I cannot burden you my whole life, lest my secret destroy us both. I must live my own life as a woman and as a mage. It is oddly freeing to write the word. Farewell, Father. I hope one day you make peace between what you have been taught and what you have seen. All my love, Olivia. Uh-oh. Dad was right. Kind of. Oh, jeez. You should have said it a moment earlier. Alright, hideout location map.
That poor thing. What was her name? Where were they taking her?
I will say, I don't think there's a ton of philosophical content of too much interest in the story of the Jedi Knight series.
These streets should
Dark
be safe
Forces
at
series
night.
or whatever.
Care to help out with that?
Basically, the Kyle Katarn series. Katarn seems to be much more interesting in a lot of the novels, honestly. Alright. Well, let's just get out of here. I have good things to say about The Last Jedi. It ended, Kevin says. Well, that counts. I guess. Barely, but it counts. Okay, so I can genuinely say some good things about The Last Jedi, almost none of which are thematic, most of which are pretty superficial. But, I mean, if you want, I can probably think it through. There were things about it that were enjoyable, I have to say, but not, overall not so much.
Look here, boys. Volunteers. Clap them in irons and let's see what services will pay for them.
Answer my questions, and I won't trouble you about this little operation.
If you die now, there won't be any trouble at all. Shut this buck up.
Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. Freezy! Frozen dead.
Be something here that shows where he shipped Fainreal.
Yes. A map to the Wounded Coast, I bet.
Looks like they took him to some bolt hole in the Wounded wounded coast. Not going to happen.
Alright, Varric.
You want me to do what? I don't think so.
Is there a thing you can... Is there something you need to upgrade for him to be able to pick locks? 'Cause he can't even do standard locks. What is this? Kind of rogue. That's irritating. Anyway, Wizkid says, yeah, you're thinking of the KOTOR review. I think The Last Jedi could have been good, but it was too concerned about subversion for its own sake to do it in an intelligent, meaningful way. Yeah, and I will say that KOTOR 2 did subversion in an intelligent, meaningful way, and I still didn't, I still didn't love it. Intelligent, meaningful still, but the subversion found in it was still kind of irritating for its philosophical underpinnings. The whole Kreia thing. Like I said, like I was saying on the Discord, right? A lot of people, right? I can know a lot about people, about somebody, by whether they think that Kreia had some good things to say.
Had some good points. Nothing within. Daenerys may know we're here. I wouldn't put it past him.
I could stand to know a little more about this Daenerys.
He is a Magister of the Tevinter Imperium.
Oh, is that all? Nothing to worry about then.
There, he is a wealthy mage with great influence. Here, he is but a man who sweats like any other when death comes for him.
Yeah, Kreia is a little bit of an objectivist. Ayn Randian kind of objectivist. But also more nihilistic. Far, far more nihilistic and sort of radical in terms of I would say free will, but in almost the opposite sense of how we've been talking about. Free will dismoored from any kind of objective criterion of right and wrong. Right? She wants there to be no objective. It's weird because she acknowledges there is an objective criterion for right and wrong, which is the light and the dark side of the Force, but wants there not to be. Which is, I think, the biggest... Like, she's an honest atheist. One who believes in God, to analogize it to the real world, believes in God but wishes that God weren't real.
He may have prepared some magical defenses.
They will not keep me from him.
Alright. Oh, he's got to be with us, so let's do Varric and Meryl. He's a warrior, so... Which is weird, given how magic he looks, but he is a warrior.
Daenerys, show yourself!
Level him up. Or do good offense is the best defense. Yeah, that's fine. All right.
Watch where you step.
Thanks, Varric.
We're good to go.
Glad I brought you. Oh, cool.
sends spirits to do his fighting for him. Daenerys, can you hear me? Your pets cannot stop us.
That's a little disturbing. Oh, Erica, good. You finally caught up to the live stream. Welcome. Welcome to the present. Yeah, WizKid says, in the killing god would be good sort of way. Yes, that is exactly a perfect description of Kreia. Which is just really embarrassingly ridiculous. Oh, hello. Oh, crap. Okay. Oh, this is bad. Oh boy, this is real bad. Okay. Ah! Are we though? Oh, jeez. Okay, here we go. Okay, Fenris, come on back. Hello. Hi. You good? Okay, so I need injury kits. There. Jesus. All right. Well, that was a nightmare. All right. We're good. We're good. Erica's unwrapped the present, even when I bring good tidings of game tomorrow. Oh, Eddie hasn't said hi. That is rude. That is a good point. Which makes a solid point there. Anyway. Oh no, Erica says that it was long and boring in parts. Which makes good that you have an arrow key to skip over long-winded talking. But long-winded talking's literally the whole point. I mean that's kind of actually true. A fair bit of the point of this stream is long-winded talky bits. But oh well. I mean, I get you. Sure. That's better. Better. Right. His kid says, hello, Erica. Welcome to the now. Right. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Kevin says the present is a gift, continuing the pun. How? How did you get blood on your coat? There is no blood. They're all evil spirits. Demons, basically. It's slower to game time. It's closer to game time, so it's quite pleasant. Oh my gosh. I woke up from a nap. I have an excuse. That is true. That is true. You and Michael? Is Michael awake, I assume? I assume you wouldn't be awake if you weren't. Could be wrong about that, but... What have we here?
I don't think I can do that.
Maybe.
Not likely.
Oh my god. How do I get him to open locks? Is it his cunning? Do I need to increase his... Excuse me, his cunning? Is that it? I don't know, man. Know what I should do? I should do that. Oh, hi, arcane horror. Eddie claims to be multitasking, so he claims to have an excuse. I believe that you are multitasking, and that, I guess, gives you an excuse, so fair enough, I suppose.
Gone.
Oh, half an excuse. That's fair.
No, it doesn't matter any longer. I assume Daenerys left valuables behind. Take them if you wish. I need some air.
Well, alright. Bye-bye, Fenris. Afraid rope. Ooh, jeez. That's pretty good, but not actually that great. Probably gonna sell it. He left frayed ropes. And a loot that I can't pick up. It's disappointing. Oh well. Can I exit this way? No, I have to go back the long way. Kevin says, you people and your excuses. I am open about my unbiased oafishness. That's it. Unabashed oafishness. Why was that hard? Why was that hard to read? Whatever. Either way. And sleepiness, usually.
It never ends. I escaped a land of dark magic, only to have it hunt me at every turn. It is a plague burned into my flesh and my soul. And now I find myself in the company of yet another mage. I saw you casting spells inside. I should have realized sooner what you really were. Tell me then, what manner of mage are you? What is it that you seek?
First of all, good question. Second of all, oh my god, he's so broody. Kevin says, you'll need an excuse for that mistake, Vince. Do I, though? Do I, though? It's my stream. I can mispronounce what I want. Wizkid says, Kevin, I promise you, I procrastinate better than you do. Yeah, I believe you. Having had to tell you to go do your homework, and not actually being your teacher or your mom, I believe you. Wizkid says, Varric cunning? Doubtful. No, he's super cunning. What are you talking about? Just not reflected in his stats. That's all. Not power. Kevin says Chad. Well, referring to Fenris, or I guess he's over there.
I'm just trying to get by.
Yet I have seen many crimes done in the name of survival.
It's true.
We're not all the same, nor are we worthy of your scorn.
I imagine I appear ungrateful. If so, I apologize, for nothing could be further from the truth. I did not find Denarius, but I still owe you a debt. Here is all the coin I have, as Anso promised. Should you find yourself in need of assistance, I would gladly render it.
Your old master must want something more than just a runaway slave.
He doesn't want me at all, just the markings on my skin. They are lyrium, burned into my flesh to provide the power that Denarius required of his pet. And now, he wishes his precious investment returned, even if he must rip it from my corpse.
Perhaps you can find a way to pay him back.
I will pay him back. In blood. You have no idea what he's done to me. What I went through just to get away.
I was only trying to help you.
That was unworthy of me. The truth is, I know nothing of the ritual that placed these markings on me. It was Denarius's choice, one he now regrets.
Kevin says, "Oh no, your Stream Master claim." Well, just bam. Yeah, no, I can pronounce things how I want. I mean, if it gets irritating enough, you can also just leave, technically. But I prefer you didn't.
You've said Denarius is a magister, but little else.
In Tevinter, the Magisters hold all the power. Over the Chantry, over the Imperial Court, over life itself. It is nothing for one to own a slave. Denarius had many, but none he valued so much as me.
Then how did you get away?
Is it not enough that I did? I carved my path to freedom in blood. I left that life behind. Yet his bounty hunters follow me no matter where I go. I will run no longer.
Erica says, "Dude, this guy is 100% a new D&D player's first edgelord rogue character. He's not even a rogue. He's a fighter." I would probably make him either, like, if I were to make Fenris a D&D character, I would say either Echo Knight or Eldritch Knight fighter. But definitely, as you said, complete with the tragic backstory, including slavery and twisted experiments. Indeed, that gave me a special, cool, unique power. Listen. Varric there is writing. Basically, he's telling this story like one of his like over the top, probably crappy pulp novels. Though to be fair, not actually crappy. If you read what's it called? Hard in Hightown, the actual book of his that's actually printed as a book, and it's all in the codex too. But it's actually really good. Actually, really good. You know what I want so bad? There's a clip of it, and I'll put it in the description as well. I would love his voice actor to actually do the audiobook reading. I would totally buy that of Hard in Hightown. I would love that. He did a little preview of it. He read a little snippet from it as an advert for the book, and it was fantastic. This kid says, "I literally wrote an entire 1,500 word paper last night, Kevin, and with half an hour to spare, having only finished the reading a few hours prior." What is wrong with you? Man, don't do that. Advice to everyone else: do not follow WizKid's example. Kevin says potato. Yeah, potato is the correct pronunciation on this channel. Kevin says, "Joke's on you, WizKid. I don't even know 1,500 words, lol, nerd." I think I've probably said 1,500 different words on this stream.
Do you think your master will keep chasing you?
I'm loving this music, dude.
He is too proud
nice.
not to. Perhaps one day the hunt will cost him more than he is willing to pay, but I doubt that matters any longer.
I've seen some of your abilities. Do they come from those markings?
Some. All I know is that even in the Imperium, warriors such as myself are rare. Perhaps they believe I should feel honored.
Eric says, DM, when I get introduced, I want to be killing someone all nonchalantly because I'm totally badass with a tragic dark past. Listen. We all want to be edgy sometimes. Usually when we first start playing RPGs. Anyway.
You didn't seem all that thrilled with me a moment ago.
You are not Denarius. Whether you are anything like him remains to be seen.
Kevin says, could have fooled me. Some of it's just gibberish. Yeah, that's fair. I guess that's a fair point. Yeah, sure.
I'm planning an expedition I might need help with.
Fair enough. Should you ever have need of me, I will be here. If Denarius wishes his mansion back, he is free to return and claim it. Beyond that, I am at your disposal.
Wizkid says this sounds like a bad breakup. Wait, what does? The discussion between Hawke and Fenris? You'll notice as well, we are missing only one person. I don't know where or when she shows up. It's well, technically two people because the prince. What's the prince's name? We met him already. I can't remember his name. The prince. He goes over here. But over there, we're just missing one main non-DLC party member, being Isabella, the pirate. All right, what do we have here? Nothing else to do in Hightown, so let's. Oh wait, let's head out of Hightown. Meanwhile, couple of things I wanted to mention before I forget and before it's time to go. A couple of food-related things that have been really neat lately. These little thingies, Leibniz cookies. They're actually very good. I found these for the first time. They were brought in as a semi-joke by one of my philosophy professors to our grad seminar where we were talking about Leibniz. And so since then, I and a lot of my philosophy buddies have jokingly referred to these as monads. If you know anything about the philosophy of Gottfried Leibniz, you'll find that just as really stupid but humorous as I do. Anyway, they are very good, and I recommend them. They're these great little chocolate covered like graham cracker type cookies. Not exactly graham cracker type cookies. They're really good, whatever they are. They're good. I recommend them. Erica likes them a lot more than me, so I'm probably going to save her at least the last two. She's eaten all that are missing so far. So I at least want one. The other thing we made today was Kahlua pork, the Hawaiian style, like the kind of thing you smoke underneath the buried in the sand kind of thing. Very, very yummy. We didn't actually do it buried in the sand. We got a new Instant Pot. My parents got me for my birthday last weekend. We got to try the thing out today and made Kahlua roast pork. Not Kahlua like the liquor, but like the method of cooking. It's like a smoky, salty we added a little bit of pineapple and teriyaki sauce to it. Very good. Very, very good. Slow cooker works, or not slow cooker, the fast cooker, the Instant Pot. Pressure cooker works spectacularly. Love it. Love it so far. Haven't gotten to try. It's also a combination air fryer. It has the other lid for it. So if any of you guys have recipes for either Instant Pot or air fryer, throw them into the food channel on Discord. I will look forward to trying them. Should have mentioned that when Kylie was still here. I'm sure she had some. I know she's mentioned air fryer stuff before. Oh yeah, Fenris and his owner. Yeah, the owner. Whisket says, "Oh, don't worry. The last paper is on Candide by Voltaire, and I know I can't get away with it for that one. I have not read Candide, actually. I haven't read much Voltaire, actually. Really. Yeah, Whisket says Pirate Lady. I don't know where to find Pirate Lady. I'd love to.
I'm expected.
I really don't know where to find Pirate Lady.
I thank you for coming. This matter is delicate, and I need someone of limited notoriety who will not link this to me. It is an escort,
You
but
mean
I
the
think
captain
you would
of the
agree
guard
the
right there?
nature of the party makes this unique.
Time is wasting. Who is going where?
My name is Sister Patrice. I have assumed a burden of charity. This is my charge.
Shiva Da.
Would even a Templar bind a mage like this?
I don't know, ask one.
A survivor of infighting with their Talvashoth outcasts. I call him Katojan, a bridge between worlds. The Viscount and others feel that peace begins with appeasement. This mage would likely be returned to his brutal kin. He can serve a better purpose. I want him free. He must be guided from the city without alerting his people, or being seen in my care.
You don't just stumble on someone like this.
For all their blasphemous certainty, the Kunari do have deserters. Those who seek freedom are hunted mercilessly.
Talvashoth. They seem to accept the role.
Even their rebels conform. Savonel observed one of their bloody exchanges. This poor mage was the only survivor.
And you think this mage was being hunted?
I'm certain no thinking creature would willingly submit to this. If he was not running before, he has seized the opportunity now.
If you're so intent on this, why not use Chantry resources?
My order will soon realize the Kunari presence is more than a test of faith. It is an open challenge. But for now, I must act on my own. Helping this mage shows how Kunari heresy cannot be ignored. His flight is vital.
I honestly can totally get behind this.
Is freedom so helpful? A new life with that collar seems doubtful.
And yet it is more than he has.
Get rid of it.
My reach is limited. His struggle is his own.
It just seems like releasing a bird, cage and all.
Do what we can to step toward what is right. That must be enough.
Now, assuming her sincerity, which is a huge assumption, I really like where she's going with this.
Will he help? If I trust him at all?
I don't know his capabilities, or if he can function at all in that collar, but I think he knows we are his only way out.
You think?
He's followed every direction and made no aggressive moves, even when taunted. Were I in his place, I could have fled. Kunari or not, I can only assume he wants to be led to freedom.
And if you're wrong, I have to deal with it.
That is why I went to Lowtown. You are either capable of the discretion and skill that I need, or you are not.
You're not interested in who you might be hiring?
If you were important enough to know, I would need someone else. But if you insist, what is your family name?
My name is Hawke.
Strong. Very Ferelden. The Kunari have hardly pressured the southern nations. You have not seen as many converts or those who refused. If this action, if any action, can lessen their influence, it must be done.
Again, I totally get behind this. The Kunari with their whole conversion by both deception, the sword, and most notably and most insidiously by picking up the those who fall through the cracks of Chantry's society, of Andrasian society. It leads most significantly to a kind of social disintegration, which is very ironic, given that the Kunari are so order-driven. Given it's ironic how willing they are to undermine the stability of a neighboring society. I mean, it's not unexpected. They are. I mean, I'll just say evil. I suppose is fine. They're deeply misguided, is what I would say in this context.
I've had dealings with the Kunari leader. He'd want to know of this.
You have dealt with their leader? If you have interacted with Kunari, you know how they treat those who leave their heathen order. The Arashok would doom this poor creature.
That is true.
But knowing them is useful. If they challenged you, attacking an ally would only confirm their barbarism. You are still right for the task.
Right, let's do it.
I can get him out of Kirkwall. He's a bit conspicuous for the streets, though.
Why would they do this to him? That is obviously not an option. You must avoid incident with the guards. I cannot be linked to this. This mage will be a fine example of how cruel Kunari are.
Still have the guard captain, like, right next to us, but okay.
Only if this plays out just so. The passage here leads to the warrens of the Undercity. It is dangerous, but that is why you were hired. Good luck.
Okay, well, let's do this then, yeah? Varric doesn't like that we're doing this. That's weird, but okay, I suppose. Wizkid says, mostly I want to slap Voltaire. It'll be funny and ironic. Why ironic? I'm not sure if like I said, I don't know much. I don't know enough of Voltaire to find enough of the humor there. In here, what are we missing? No, just all right. Let's just go.
I would not approve of coming here to avoid the guards.
Ooh, spooters. Okay. Well, spiders are one thing to deal with. Where's our friend? Are we just clearing the way for him? Or I thought he was supposed to be following. Here he is. Hi. Ikatogen. You coming? You are apparently a very powerful mage. You could help. Alright, buddy. You do what you want. Ah, jeez. Spiderwebs. Recover a little bit before we do this. Uh-oh. That's not good. Ah! Ah! Well, it was nice that the spider got trapped somewhere. I like it when spiders can't get to you. In general, that's a nice thing. Pleasant surprise.
With us is suicidal.
You're right, Varric. This kid says, oh, Jesus. Oh, let's get out of this. Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay. Anyway, WizKid says, checks out. The extremists they're inspired by are literally the same way. It's why their enclaves in the West refuse to integrate like others have. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, it's honestly kind of bold of of BioWare to write antagonists like the Qunari. And it's the kind of thing that I think I will say I am a little concerned. They are setting up.
It's not very helpful, is it?
They're being set up to be a major antagonistic party in Dragon Age 4. But it's actually going to be. But I think it's.
Look at this.
I think it's going to be difficult for them to actually.
But there's no shortage of fools.
Difficult for them to manage to portray them as proper villains, given the obvious associations with both atheism and Islam.
Maybe I should get rid of you and see who will pay the most for your pet.
Okay, whatever. You're a bunch of a-holes. It's whatever.
I don't think it likes you threatening its master. Maybe we let this one pass.
But yeah, I have concerns that they're going to try and portray the Qunari as kind of like as a people, as an ideology, portraying them as sympathetic compared to Tevinter, because Tevinter are another group of terrible villains who are at war with the Qunari. So I have the unfortunate feeling that they're going to be portraying the Qunari in Dragon Age 4 as the reasonable party, which I don't like at all. Honestly, they are my least favorite faction in all of Thedas. Even more so than the what are they called? The Fenharel elves that are going to be in 4, and even the Tevinters, who are just explicitly made supremacists and slavers, which is all very bad. But the Qunari, look at this. This is worse. It's very clearly worse. I'm just saying. Evan says there was an old man at Mass today, and he belched during the petitions, and it sounded like a growl. It took every ounce of self-control not to giggle. That reminds me of a hilarious thing that Michael did. This was several weeks ago, maybe a month or two. It was during the... was it? I forget what it was. Oh, that's right. It was the Easter Vigil. It was the Easter Vigil, I think. Or no, not the Easter Vigil. Good Friday, maybe? It was during Holy Week, and it was maybe Holy Thursday. And it was the or it might have been Palm Sunday. Either way, it was around Holy Week, and it was the reading of the crucifixion. And it got to the point where the crowd is shouting for the crucifixion of Christ, right? And right then, right, the timing of this was absolutely perfect. The cantor says, and the crowd shouted, "Crucify him!" And the congregants respond, "Crucify him!" And one little congregant, our little congregant, yay big, responds with a massive fart. So the crowd shouted, timed just perfectly. I'm so proud of that little dude. I mean, not appropriate. But, like, for Mass, obviously, if he were a grown-up. But it's also fairly appropriate for the circumstances of the gospel being told. So, anyway, that was just like Heaven's Story. That was delightful. Anyway, yeah. Let's threaten them back.
Listen to your friend.
Unless you lot make a holiday of the last free place in Kirkwall, tax it up like even Lowtown, I'll cut you up and save the biggest piece for your pet.
You can do that.
By the void! Kill it! Kill them all!
No. He's a force mage. Oh my god, we just... Oh, okay, fine. They're not all dead, but... God, they're close. Jeez, that was brutal.
Danger has passed, Katojan. Calm yourself.
Did you react because your lead was threatened? How much of this is just blind instinct, I wonder? You did what I said. Did I hit the right phrase or something?
Huh.
Right. Could have expected that answer. You can't gesture or stomp your feet twice for yes or something.
The sister has assumed a great deal from a few grunts and twitches.
Keep control, and remember who is on your side. Of course. I expected no different.
Jeez. Alright, well. That'll work. Like I said, I like the writing of the Qunari as an antagonist. I just hate them as a people. Ooh, cool stuff. That's pretty good. Nah. Not great, though. Let's get out of here. Let's wrap this up, and this will probably be it. Yeah, we have time for... I mean, well, geez, we only have 3 minutes, but I think we can finish this quest. Next time, I am very much hoping that we can finally find and encounter Isabella. Though I'm not sure. We will see. I might have to look it up, honestly. See where she is.
You will hold Basra Vashidan. I am Arvarad, and I claim possession of Serabas at your heel. The members of Iskaratam were killed by Tal-Vashoth, but their disposal leads only here, to Serabas and you.
How did I know this job would end in more Qunari?
You speak as if ignorance is your natural condition. The bodies of his slain Karatam could lead only here. I do not know how you come
This
to
is
hold
cinema,
his
I agree.
leash, but you have no claim in the Qun. He will be returned and this crime cleansed.
And if he doesn't want to go back?
Serabas, show that your will remains bound to the Qun. He has only followed you because he wants to be led. He has allowed no other purpose.
The sister called him Katojan. You are Serabas?
Serabas is his role and his name, as you understand it. It is the accusation and acknowledgement of being a mage.
And you are Arvarad?
My role is to hold the leash and hunt the Grey Ones who leave the Qun. Or Baz who have not yet been enlightened.
I don't like any of this. Yeah, so he's a apostate hunter, I guess.
He is bound and abused, and you want him caged. Why?
The power that he has, that all Serabas have, draws from chaos and demons. They can never be in control.
So you fear them?
Just like everyone.
We leash Serabas because they are dangerous and contagious. Not even your Templars fully grasp that threat.
Contagious?
I find it hard to believe that Merrill could be so threatening.
Thank you, Hawke. There's no need for such fear.
You are Serabas? Bas Serabas? Vashidan! Nera Setar Karasam!
Uh-oh.
You spewed your words at me like a demon trying to poison my control. Like this mage, the Qun requires your death.
Great.
We're no threat to each other.
Bas Serabas, you will be no threat to anyone.
What in the hell is that? Not a fan of that. Oh, ouchies. Oh, that's not it. Okay, there's more.
Can you stand?
I am unbound. Odd. Wrong. But you deserve honor. You are now Basvarad, worthy of following. I thank your intent, even if it was wrong. I know the will of Arvarad. I must return as demanded. It is the wisdom of the Qun.
So after all of this, now you want to die?
I do not want to die. I want to live by the Qun.
Which means dying.
Yes. Is that hard to grasp?
Could you have returned if I'd let these others live?
No.
You were doomed from the start.
I was outside my Keratam. I may be corrupted. I cannot know. How I return is my choice. It must be. But that does not mean there is no meaning.
Arvarad couldn't kill me. Perhaps he was wrong about your death, too.
Losing to you does not make him wrong. He spoke the Qun. I have chosen. It is bred in the bone.
Existing is not a choice.
It is the only choice. As it Taleb. It is to be.
Whisket says they're just so ew. Refusal of individuality is disgusting. Yeah, it's... Now, there's something good about willfully and voluntarily choosing to fulfill one's proper function within society, but that's a far cry away from doing so at the expense of oneself, at the expense of those around you, and at the expense of your will, your good, the will of others, and the good of others. It's kind of disgusting, really. It's collectivism taken to the utmost extreme, to the point where you'll have noticed, perhaps, Qunari don't have names. They have titles which accord with their role in society. That's it. Sten, for example, if you remember the character from the last game, just means basically enforcer or leader or something like one who leads a small party for a particular purpose. Right? Something like that, if I recall, right? But they don't have names. None of the Qunari do. Some of them, we find out in the next game, some of them take nicknames, like the Iron Bull. But that's it. That's the extent of it. Yeah, it's incredibly dehumanizing, if I can use the term.
Patrice might take you back, if death is the only other option.
The sister was not honest.
What do you mean?
I cannot say what she wanted, but it was certainty, not of the Qun. And her guard smelled of death.
I can't let this decision stand.
If you force choice, it is not choice. Your doubt does not make me wrong. Certainty is comfort. That is the way of the Qunari. The way of the Qun. Take this secret thing, Basvarad.
Remember this day.
Jesus.
But the creature was free.
She may not have known about this, but clearly Patrice set a trail right to us.
Why arrange this only to subvert it? I need answers.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed completely. There's again, if I recall, and if we can just draw conclusions from what we've seen, most likely this has a lot to do with setting up the Qunari to look bad, which they certainly do, given the circumstances. All right, well, it is after midnight, and this is a very nice view to end on. Maybe not a great topic to end on, if only just because that was rather horrific, if you will, if you agree. But in any case, hopefully we all did have a good time tonight. I certainly did. So it is past time to end. So thank you all for joining me again, and I hopefully will see you all again on Monday. And if not, I will see you all again on Thursday. We're continuing Nier Automata on Monday, and then we're continuing Dragon Age 2 right here, picking up right where we left off next Thursday. So with that, thank you all so much for joining me, and I will see you all next time. Good night, everyone.